Hey everyone, thanks for joining. Got to check my settings here. Let me know if there's any problems with audio or anything. I'm Travis, this is Seraltos. This is recorded live on January 29th, 2021, a day after Microsoft announced the new Microsoft Certified Windows Virtual Desktop Specialist certification and the exam AZ-140. Just a couple things. Right away, don't get the AZ-140 exam mixed up with the Arizona Form 140 personal income tax booklet. This certification has nothing to do with Arizona personal income tax. So I want to get that out of the way right out of the gate. Before we get started, there's an update to my Zero to Hero course. I added installing Teams. I've got module or a video on doing the per machine install, cache redirection so you don't bloat the user profiles, and media optimization. So I'm just going to paste that into the chat. This is a link to a discount for the course. So if you're interested and haven't purchased that yet, this will give you a discounted rate. There we go. All right, a couple other things. Just want to get a little comment here. Check out the Cloud Skills FM podcast. I'm on it this week, talking a little bit about my career and just the path that led me to where I am now. You can go there. You can find that at cloudskills.fm. I was on a podcast in December for the WVD community. So if you're not familiar with that, go check out wvdcommunity.com. They've got a lot of great resources out there around Windows Virtual Desktop. Let's see here. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's see here. Don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, sorry, I'm reading from a script. It's kind of a security blanket for live streams, but I'll try to answer questions as I go along. I do have a limited amount of time to do this in, so I'll get to what I can. But let's get started with the certification. And my goal here is to kind of go over what Microsoft has published, and then also talk a little bit about how my course aligns, where it fits, where maybe there's some stuff missing, and we'll just take it from there. So the certification, let's see. Okay, I'm going to switch screens here. Okay, let's make sure that you guys can hear me. Sorry about that. So that's good. I see one person, it sounds like you can hear me. All right, great, thank you. You know what, I think one of my picture-in-picture controls is missing the audio. Live streaming, great. So I'll just start over again at this, because I think this is probably where I lost you, unless you guys couldn't hear the whole time. So let's go over. Let's see. So, yeah, I know you heard me because I made the joke. Somebody commented about the Arizona form. Let's see. Cloud Skills FM. Okay, so here we are. This is a Microsoft certified Windows Desktop specialty. So this is about planning, delivering, and managing Windows Virtual Desktop experience for remote apps on any device. And I pointed out the any device. That's really interesting that it's not just Windows anymore. It's Macs, it's whatever, handheld devices, whatever the case may be. Let's see here. And then we went into the So the candidate should have experience with the Azure technologies of virtualization, networking, identity storage, backups. Now this is something you don't have to have for the certification, but if you do have experience with it, great. But if you don't, one of the comments I made earlier was maybe the AZ-140 certification would be a good starting point. That's really a basic, a good starting for some of the basics, but not so basic like the 900 exam. It just goes a little bit deeper into those core features within Azure. And then ARM templates. That's an interesting one. I do a lot with the portal, but the ARM templates are important, especially once you go into more automation or any type of scripted solution. Let's go down, and then here's the certification details. So the certification is a Microsoft Certified Windows Virtual Desktop Specialist or Specialty, and the exam is the configuring and operating Windows Virtual Desktop on Microsoft Azure. And I'm going to go over here because Microsoft is now using these role-based certifications. And if we come over, this page lists the different types of certifications. And you can see they have three broad categories for these. They've got the fundamental certifications, and that's like the AZ-900, kind of the basics. And then the role-based certification, which gets more specific into the job functions somebody may have. And then the additional certifications, this is where the specialty comes in. And this is where this certification falls. Okay, and then we can come over to the AZ-140 exam. And here's where I've got the templates there again. And I did mark the templates because I don't have any of that in the Zero to Hero course. So something I've made note of. This exam will be available on March 2021. So that's coming up. There's a little time. I tried to see if there's any beta or anything I could get into, and not yet. No, and I'll try to read questions as I move along, but no, the AZ-900 is not required for this. There's no other certifications required for this. We'll go over here, and it just takes one exam. And then let's see here. We'll go down. Here's the skills measured, and I'm actually going to open up another window because I have this. This is what we're going to go into. So let me just show you where I found that. So here, if you download the exam skills online, this will open up the page that I was just looking at. I've got it highlighted though in another window. So we'll come over here. And again, the audience is for people planning, delivering, and managing virtual desktop experiences and remote apps. A couple notes. The bullet points that follow each of the skills measured are intended to illustrate how to assess the skills, and the list is not definitive or exclusive. So if you've taken Microsoft exams before, you'll know that it doesn't always align. Let me get rid of that. There could be things that are not on this list, but it's really close. So it's good to have some reference. And then let's see here, planning. So I'm going to start with this plan a Windows virtual desktop architecture. And in the near future, I'll try to map out all of these requirements to what I'm going over in the course. I didn't have a lot of time to spend on this right now, so I'll make sure to get some information out on that. But for planning the Windows Virtual Desktop architecture, that's 10 to 15%. We're designing the Windows Virtual Desktop architecture. So in my course, I've got 3 sections. I've got the section 2, which is getting started with Windows Virtual Desktop. That's an intro topic. And then section 3 is the prerequisites for Windows Virtual Desktop. So that's everything you need to get Windows Virtual Desktop up and running. And that covers things like the Azure Active Directory and Windows Active Directory. the operating systems available. I don't really go into host pool architecture there, but I do more towards a little bit later. And then sizing, I've got a section 14 is in my course is sizing and performance with Windows Virtual Desktop. We go over metadata information too. And then calculating, here it is, calculating and recommended configuration. So that's in the section 14, which is on performance of Windows Virtual Desktop. So if we go down and then design for identities and profiles. So the licensing model, I think I covered that briefly about how Windows 10 multi-user is covered by M365 license, whereas if you're deploying like a Windows Server session host, that you have to have additional license for. Storage solutions, we go into storage quite a bit in that course. And let's see here. Recommended solutions for network connectivity, I do go over that. And then plan for AD Connect. And that's something, there's an optional section of the Udemy course on setting up the lab. And I did that to give people who may not have a lab environment already a way of getting all of those prerequisites in place. And that does cover installing AD Connect. The next section is implementing a Windows Virtual Desktop infrastructure, and that is the largest section at 25 to 30%. So implement managed networking for Windows Virtual Desktop. That's definitely something that I go over in the course. Under section 3, which is Windows Virtual Desktop prerequisites, we talk about how the different options to connect your VNet in Azure with your Windows AD infrastructure. If that's either putting AD in Azure, like I did in the lab setup, or extending that with a VPN connection. Let's see, and then implement and storage for Windows Virtual Desktop. A whole section on FS Logic's user profiles, so that's covered pretty extensively. That's a big part of Windows Virtual Desktop. And configuring disks, creating file chairs, we go over that. So all of that's covered in the FS Logics portion. And then let's see here, create a host pool by using the Azure portal. That's done right away. One of the things that Udemy, the recommendations was do a lab right away. So right after that optional portion that sets up the lab environment, I wanted to get people in and be able to deploy Windows Virtual Desktop right away. So there's a lab part of that. And then we go through and expand on that along the course. And then automate creation of Windows Virtual Desktop host pools using PowerShell. I can't remember actually. I know I did some PowerShell, but I don't think I did that. I think a lot of the PowerShell options were configuration. So that's something that I'll make a note of. Create a host pool based on Windows clients and Windows Server session hosts. I don't do anything with the server session host, but that is something I do mention, but it doesn't actually go through and do that. Configure host pool settings. We've got a lot of that in the course. Manage licensing. We do go over that again, but not into great detail. And user assign users to host pools. Yes, we do that. And then the rest of it, apply OS and application updates. So that happens with the, let's see here, where am I? Creating an image. There's a section 10, which is creating the image for Windows Virtual Desktop. We go over that, not only just how to create the image, but then how to update it as well. And that extends down here, creating the gold image. So that's creating a base image. And when I went through the course the first time, we used managed images. And after that, I updated. I put a new section in there on the shared image gallery. So if you do have the course and you haven't looked at it within the last month or so, take a look at the shared image gallery section. That's new, and that goes over setting up a shared image gallery and why you may want to use it to host your base images. Manage access and security. So I do have the section 4, which is that lab again, and that's where we address in that section we go over like group membership and setting up groups for access. I don't cover the role-based access control. That's new since I published that course initially. And let's see, there's managing roles, groups. We did go over that. And then what I'm looking for is conditional access policy. So that's something, when I originally designed this course, it was for people who had some prior knowledge. Knowing that this is a requirement for the exam, that's something that I may be able to add in to get some more background around conditional access and MFA, because that is really an important part of any Windows Virtual Desktop deployment, is getting MFA in place. Manage user environment. Here again, we've got section 17, which is about FS logic. So I go into pretty deep detail on that. Don't cover universal print, but there is a, let's see here, user settings through group policy. We do a lot with group policy on like user settings to auto log off and the settings required for FS logics. And then there's a section in there on deploying applications and app masking with FS Logic. I've got a whole section on that. One thing that I will say right here, I know this is going to come up, is MSIX app attach. And I've been asked this a couple times, several times. When I originally made the course, and if you've seen the course, I kind of just make a statement that product is, or that feature is in public preview, and I'm not going to add it, and I didn't add it to that, but that's changing. And one thing that I did note, and I forgot this earlier, but the exam may contain questions on preview features if those features are commonly used. So this is something I didn't think Microsoft would do, is add preview features to an exam, but they said there they will. So my next update to this, to my Zero to Hero course, will be with MSI app attach. So in some form, I can't guarantee or I can't commit to a time frame. It will be weeks, but that is my next goal, is to get MSIX app attach up and some overview and some information on that. Let's see here. Where did I leave off? Monitoring and maintain a Windows Virtual Desktop infrastructure. So there's a planning and implementing business continuity and disaster recovery. That's kind of interesting. Kind of the high level response I've heard a lot of people say with this is back up your user profiles and then be ready to rebuild everything else. Because everything else, let me rephrase that. Back up your user profiles and the base image. But if you have those two things, you can deploy Windows Virtual Desktop pretty easily from that. However, there may be some environments where they can't risk that amount of downtime to rebuild an entire environment. So disaster recovery and business continuity are pretty important. Automate Windows Virtual Desktop management tasks. So like I said before, I didn't really go into a whole lot of PowerShell and command line, but that is something that could be added. And I'm kind of wondering, automation. So there is one thing that I'm working on for this course, and I'm doing, kind of piecing it together. But the reason why I did the shared image gallery is to incorporate Image Builder. So with Image Builder, you can create an image from a marketplace image, apply all your customizations. That includes like installing your software, and then output that to a managed image or a shared image gallery, and then use that as a base for your session host builds. So that's something that I'm trying to put some framework around. I have a 3-part video series on YouTube on Image Manager. So if you're curious about that, you want to learn more, go and check that out. But the idea is you can have a whole automated flow where you just set a schedule to build a new image, and then that will flow into shared image gallery, and then you can build your session host based off the most recent image. And then monitor and performance management. So let's see here. Seems like I might have missed something. Monitor and maintain Windows. Oh, automate. The other one is Autoscale. That's it. I'm sorry. I'm looking at 2 different things here. So Autoscale. I created a solution. But I suspect that Microsoft is not going to have any exam questions on my solution, so they'll probably be pushing theirs. So I'll add something here over the next couple months on their solution. It's a good solution. It works a little bit different than mine. But auto-scaling is important because, man, if you can shut down half your servers or session hosts overnight when nobody needs them, that's huge. That can save you a lot of money. Monitoring, here's something that I think I slipped up on. So I have section 16, which is on monitoring, and that is on a TechNet community post on how to incorporate monitoring. Since then, Microsoft has published has added insights into Windows Virtual Desktop, so you can get the same information that way. So that's going to be an easy fix that will come soon. I feel like I'm telling all the points where my course is not matching this, and I should point out that in a lot of places it is matching. Like, let's see here. Hopefully I can find one. Maybe I need to go up. This area is a little bit thin as it maps to that, but the information is there in some form, or it will be, or I'll just point it out and give you locations where you can find it. Here's one. Optimizing session host capacity. So I have an entire section on doing that. Let's see here. That was section 11, which is optimizing the session host. So there's a lot of stuff here that overlaps with my course. It's not a what I would call like a one-to-one mapping, because I developed the course before this came out. But there is a lot of references or resources there that align. Let's see here. One of the questions that came up, will I modify the Udemy course to align with the certification? Probably not like wholesale switch it over. That would take a lot of effort. But being able to identify where these match up and then filling in the gaps, I think that's the strategy I'm going to take. It wasn't intended to be an AZ-140 course, because that didn't exist when I created it. But if I can, like I said, fill in the gaps where there are, and then outline how it maps, how the existing sections map to this, I think that would be a good way to go for that. All right, so that is the requirements as of today. I'm sure that's subject to change. Okay, if you have any questions or anything you want to know, let me know in the chat. I'll try to answer them. I've got a few minutes. So one thing that I have a note here is, originally I didn't plan to add preview items to the course, but that's one of the reasons Image Builder wasn't in there, or I'm sorry, why MSIX App Attach isn't in there. But like I said, that is something that I do plan to add in the very near future. And let's see here. My course is not all-inclusive to this. Like I said, I didn't intend it to be, I don't intend it to be AZ-140 prep, at least not for now. But it gives a good reference and it gives a good starting point, especially if you are getting new to Windows Virtual Desktop. I think it still gives a really good overview of what's involved with that. And also, I'm getting asked about a specific course on 140. Like I said, maybe realign this one to give a better overview, or maybe it's a lot of work to put these together, but it's also a lot of fun. And if there's enough interest in it, I think I would really consider doing it. If there's no other questions, I think I'm going to wrap this up. I hope you enjoyed this. These live events are always kind of interesting to me. There's a reason why there's lots of jump cuts in the videos I do for YouTube. So hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully it gets you started at looking at those requirements around there. And again, if you have not taken my course or signed up for it, there's a discounted link in the chat, and I'll also add that to the course notes for this, or the video notes for this live stream. So thanks everybody for watching. I'm signing out.